What is up, guys? It is the Bluebloods here, and Jackson State continues their massive momentum on the recruiting trail, landing former Florida Atlantic offensive lineman Devin Hayes. He goes by Debo, according to his Twitter man. And Jackson State, this was a much needed addition. They lost two transfer offensive linemen yesterday, and so depth was really becoming an issue. When you look at the offensive line, they were the weakness last year. And yes, we knew people were going to transfer because they weren't going to have their starting spots, but depth is still a big major concern, especially when you're looking to replace a position that you really didn't have any standout guys last year. And so you bring in a Simi Mawala, you bring in an Evan Henry, you bring in Tyler that we had on the show yesterday, you bring in Zach Bro, but you still want to have some depth behind them. And Devin Hayes comes in, and he's going to challenge for a starting spot at the offensive tackle position, and he's going to bring some experience. He's going to bring some size at 6'6", over 300 pounds to this Jackson State offensive line. But when you get Hayes's career, man. He was a consensus three-star prospect out of Orlando, Florida in the 2018 class. Coming out, he played both ways, but they ranked him as a defensive end. He was a top 70 defensive end in the 2018 class, a top 215 player in the state of Florida, played both D end and O line at Jones High School, coached by Elijah Williams, former NFL star. When he committed to Florida Atlantic, man, he had offers from NC State, Wake Forest, South Florida, Central Florida, had offers from a bunch of different Group of Five and even some Power Five programs. He was once a NC State commit, but decommitted about a week before his commitment to Florida Atlantic, which was made on December 6th, right before the early signing period. And when he gets to Florida Atlantic, he redshirts his freshman year in 2018 and saw some action through 2019 to 2021 for the Owls. He appeared in over 29 games over 3 seasons and contributed on an offensive line that only allowed one tackle for loss in the CUSA championship game against UAB in a blowout win where they go on to win the conference. He played a big role on special teams all throughout his 3 seasons as well. But I know a lot of people are wondering, what is Hayes going to bring to the offensive line? What is he going to improve it? Is he going to be able to earn a starting role? A lot of people are wondering who out of all these new guys they're bringing in, the Tony Grays of the world who are still at Jackson State, who's going to get a starting spot? And I think Hayes is probably going to challenge for that starting offensive tackle spot opposite of Simi Mawala. I think he's got one locked down. Evan Henry's probably got a spot locked down. When Zach Bro gets there, he's got a spot locked down. My guy Tyler, who we had on the show yesterday, I think he's got the other guard spot locked down. So I think it's going to be a competition of who's going to be that other tackle. They moved Tony Gray inside. I just don't think there's a starting spot at guard. Is Tony Gray going to be okay not starting? I don't know. Maybe they try to bump him outside the tackle. I think Devin Hayes is going to be a name that you're going to have to look for at that other offensive tackle spot. And his strength is something that Jackson State really needs. His strength of his game is in his pass blocking. He's graded above a 73 according to Pro Football Focus in all his pass blocking situations over the past 2 seasons. He had a crazy 84.1 pass blocking grade in 2020, a 73.6 last year for 2021. And in his career, man, in over 200 snaps for the Owls the past 2 years, has allowed 0 sacks, one QB hit, one QB hurry, and two QB pressures in over those 200 snaps. That's great production. I think his run game needs a little bit of work, but he's a big guy. And for me, you have a bunch of maulers on the offensive line. You've got the Evan Henrys, you've got the Tylers, you've got the Zach Bros that are going to be dogs on the inside for that run game. You need some pass protectors that are going to keep number two clean. And I think that's what you're getting in Devin Hayes to go along with Simi Mawala on the other side. He definitely has some untapped potential, but my question is can he find a spot in this Jackson State offensive line throughout the summer and fall and allow Jackson State to build some chemistry, man. In terms of raw talent, you have a lot of guys who I think are good offensive linemen, from the Evan Henrys to the Bros to the Tylers. But for me, it's all about chemistry. It's all about developing that communication, developing the just overall consistency of the offensive line. So the quicker all these guys get to campus and gets to play together, get to go out together, develop those relationships, that's going to be where Jackson State really needs to, I guess, get things rolling. And last year, man, ranked last in the SWAC in sacks allowed, also had the worst rushing attack in the SWAC. Jackson State really hit offensive line hard this offseason. And you saw with the transfers, they're letting some guys know that they're just not the answer, or they're not going to have a role in this upcoming 2022 season. So I think Devin Hayes, bringing some experience, really excels in the pass blocking aspect of his game. He has extremely long arms. He can keep defenders off of him. He's extremely physical in the pass blocking aspect of his game. If that run game could take a few steps forward, man, Devin Hayes could be a real factor come the 2022-2023 season for Jackson State. Man, he has 2 years of eligibility left, I believe. And so that's what Jackson State needs. They need the guys to have multiple years of eligibility left so they can establish some continuity and consistency along that offensive line. And I think you're seeing them take that step forward. And, I've heard that there could be a few other guys on the way for offensive line. I just think they're trying to bring as many bodies in as they can so they can find the best really 5 to 8 guys that are going to establish this offensive line and have, arguably that front 5 and then 3 or 4 guys that they trust if anything happens to get in there and make plays happen. So Jackson State continues their momentum on the recruiting trail, man, landing former Florida Atlantic 3-star offensive lineman Devin Hayes, bringing in some more reinforcements for that offensive line, looking to protect their main asset in Shador Sanders and also revitalize a rushing attack that was one of the worst in the FCS last year, man. But comment below your thoughts on Devin Hayes' commitment to Jackson State. Smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Share the video, man, and stay tuned for a lot more content coming down the pipeline here on the Blue Bloods. But for right now, guys, the Blue Bloods are out.